the 26-year-old phenom, Luka Doncic, was traded suddenly from the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers. And now he finally got to return to Dallas. And how did it turn out?
There you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
And emotions were extremely high, not just for him, but really for everyone involved in this game. The Lakers have embraced him with open arms. I think they have gotten a glimpse, obviously more than any of us, into the emotions that Luka has had to deal with because of this trade. And on the other side, you have players and staff and people in the Dallas Mavericks organization who have built up a relationship with this guy for all of these years, and they were in shock of the news. So this was emotional all the way around. And the fact that with all of those emotions, Luka Doncic was able to score 45 points in his first game back in Dallas, right? That is a very that's a key difference in this. It's his first game back in Dallas. He still has a home here. And so for him to, we saw him cry. Everyone saw him crying. To go from that to a 45-point performance in the victory, it just really shows how good this guy really is and why everyone was so shocked about the trade. Now, I will say, I thought that the way they played him was really interesting. You know, if you've watched Luka, it's very clear that you can't leave him in one-on-one situations consistently. Even against the best defenders, he did it against Lou Dort in the Oklahoma City Thunder game. They left Lou Dort on an island against him, and he torched him time and again. And Lou Dort is a great defender. He got his stops, but Luka does what Luka does. So you can't leave him in one-on-one situations time and again consistently. That's number one. Number two, you can't leave him in one-on-one situations against bigs. Those two things are the most important things when it comes to guarding Luka Doncic. You have to give him a steady diet of different looks, but at the same time, you can't leave him in one-on-one situations consistently. And that was exactly what the Dallas Mavericks did. I mean, the last time Luka got left in single coverage for an entire game, he lit up the Atlanta Hawks for 73 points. And through the first half, it almost looked like he was going to try to get close. He had 31. He was 11 of 16 from the field, 6 of 8 from 3. 3 of 6 from the line. And I know he hit some really tough shots. That corner shot in the left corner in front of the Lakers bench was tough. The step back on Davis was tough. He hits tough shots. But how did he get there? They were switching Derek Lively on him and leaving him on an island, and he was literally walking to the rim. And what made it more glaring, and they didn't talk about this much on the broadcast, but what made it more glaring was what they did actually mention was the fact that Anthony Davis on his second game back against the Los Angeles Lakers, right? He already had the debut but left the game in the other one. But for Anthony Davis to get double teamed constantly, pretty much from the second he touched the ball. On the first possession, he got the one-on-one on LeBron. Someone came help on the baseline, but every other time on the catch, he was pretty much getting double teamed. They were not allowing him to get off. And it was such an apparent difference from the way the Dallas Mavericks were playing Luka Doncic. Now, I'm not saying that Jayson Kidd was throwing the game, even though there's no way they were going to get knocked out of the play-in anyway. They were locked for the play-in whether they won or lost last night. That's number one. But number two, Jayson Kidd was a former player. And I'm sure he really felt for Luka in that moment. Right? He really felt for him and what he was going through and the way that it happened. And so it looked like an alley-oop. I don't know if Jayson Kidd was banking on him being too emotional because of the situation in the tribute that he would be off, knowing that these guys were coming in on a second day of a back-to-back, and that the guys on the Lakers were going to try to feed him the ball. And to Jayson Kidd's point, they were up at one point even with Luka going off. Right? In the third or fourth quarter, they were up at one point. But they just left him in single coverage pretty much the entire first half and for most of the game, honestly. And it was just a very interesting way that they guarded him. And I bring this up in comparison, right? Because we saw another game that was like this earlier this season between the Golden State Warriors, the Golden State Warriors and the Miami Heat. And in that game, it was Jimmy Butler's first game back in Miami. The Golden State Warriors were not going to let Andrew Wiggins go off on them. He was seeing two people for most of that night as well, too. Jimmy Butler, on the other hand, also saw a lot of single coverage. But unlike Luka, he didn't shoot the ball very much in that game. Now, maybe Eric Spoelstra was banking on the fact that Jimmy Butler has not been a super aggressive player and that he would not be a super aggressive player looking for his shot in that game, and he was right. Or maybe he knows something about Jimmy Butler and his health or where he is at this point in his career that we don't know, right? We've seen a bit of an underwhelming performance from him in the Golden State Warriors, even though they've been winning games. But Luka had already dropped 40 plus this season. Like, Jayson Kidd was in a very different scenario than Eric Spoelstra in, you know, that your guy Luka Doncic he's going to shoot the basketball. And so again, the decision to leave him in single coverage against bigs consistently, it was baffling to me. It was baffling to me. And you know, I guess the takeaway from this, right, is one, going into the playoffs, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, every team has to know they can't leave you in single coverage. Every team needs to know and understand they cannot leave Luka Doncic in single coverage because he is liable to get 40 on you. If they didn't know that already, now you know. Another reminder. The other thing is, with a massive loss from the Golden State Warriors, they're now 7th, and now you have the Memphis Grizzlies in a potential first-round matchup with the Los Angeles Lakers. And with the turmoil that the Grizzlies have been in, I wonder if that's a series that they could try to win relatively easily while they continue to get their game together and they continue to get Luka into the fold. And for the Warriors, it was a massive loss. The Denver Nuggets are also going through their struggles. And, you just proved that you could beat the Oklahoma City Thunder almost twice in a row. So there are a lot of positive takeaways from that evening if you're the Los Angeles Lakers. And if you're the Dallas Mavericks, I mean, only a win, only a championship can fix this. There's reports now that they're set to lose 9 figures because of trading Luka. Apparently, Luka's representatives had denied the use of certain sponsors that Luka Doncic endorses. So there is a lot at play when it comes to this Luka Doncic trade from the Dallas Mavericks. I genuinely think it's bigger than basketball, but will we ever know the reason why? No. But we're going to keep getting these banger performances because we have a killer in Luka Doncic, and I hope he averages 40 for the rest of his career against the Dallas Mavericks, honestly, the way that whole thing turned out. But, hey, man, it's going to be a super interesting playoffs, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.